So after running my own restoration company for over a decade, we learned a ton. We were able to make millions of dollars, but then we also lost a lot of money too. We did some stuff well, and we did some stuff that was really, quite frankly, just stupid. In this video, we're gonna be talking about that. We're gonna be talking about some of the biggest mistakes that I made at my restoration company. Why? I don't want you to make them at your company. I think you can probably learn from these. So if you own a restoration company and you want to avoid some stupid mistakes, this video is for you. Let's go. All right, guys, so as we get started, do me a favor, hit the like and the subscribe button and drop a comment down below. Let me know where you're tuning in from. And in case you can't tell, I got some new digs here. We're in a new studio. So I've recently relocated back to Florida. And if you guys want me to do a video showing you the studio and showing you around the house and everything, drop a comment and let me know, and we'll do that as well. All right, guys, so as we go through this list, this isn't going to be in any particular order. We're just going to kind of knock them out as we go. So one of the biggest mistakes I see restoration contractors make is they start worrying about procedures too early in their business. They're trying to document everything that they're doing. They're trying to scale the business and they haven't hit critical mass. Guys, you don't need procedures in the very beginning. You just need to find a way to get some jobs and do the jobs, okay? You're going to need procedures when you're going to scale the company, but in the beginning, you're not scaling the company. You're trying to figure out who you are. You're trying to figure out what you're doing. You're trying to figure out how are you going to get jobs? How are you going to get referrals? Who are you going to partner with? What type of jobs do you like? What type of structures do you like trying, okay? Like, why are you going to write procedures when you don't know if you're still drying trailers, if you're going to be drying commercial properties, residential jobs? Guys, you don't know what you're doing. If you're doing mold and fire and water and recon and bio and trauma, how are you going to write protocols and procedures? Have you seen the S500? It's like 700 pages probably. So how are you going to write procedures that document all that as well? Here's what I'm telling you. You're not going to. You're not going to. And you don't need to spend your time the first year or first 2 years of your business trying to write a procedure document. What you need to do is figure out who are you? How are you going to get jobs? Get job, do job, build job, collect job. Here's what I'll tell you. We'll talk a little bit more later about what you should do in terms of growing your company and what you should worry about first. But the biggest mistake that I see people make is they're trying to document everything they do and they're trying to make procedures and they have not yet mastered getting jobs. All right, so let me say this a little bit differently. If you're not doing 8 water jobs a month, you don't need to worry about procedures. You need to be worried about doing the jobs. If you're not doing 8 water jobs a month, you probably don't have water damage technicians yet. I mean, if you do have water damage technicians and you're only doing 5 jobs a month, what are they doing all day? 5 jobs a month, water damage jobs. What are your technicians doing all day? Let me tell you what they're doing. Can I tell you what they're doing? They're doing a little bit of mold, a little bit of pack out, a little bit of recon, because you're doing all of this stuff. You're doing everything, okay? And you hadn't focused on any specific thing. Now you're getting me off topic, but I'm just telling you, most people, they just get too frazzled, okay? Pick something and do it, okay? If you want to do water jobs, focus on water jobs, okay? And we can help you do that. Go to workwithshane.com. I'll show you how to do it. But I'm telling you, one of the biggest mistakes is you're trying to write procedures too early. You don't know who you are. So most businesses fail in 5 years, and they're probably spending half the time of those 5 years writing procedures when they're going to be out of business in 24 months anyway. You need to focus on getting jobs, and you need to focus on taking care of your customers, okay? Here's my advice. Once you're doing 3 jobs a week or 12 jobs a month, then you can start worrying about writing procedures. Here's all I'm trying to say. I'm not saying procedures aren't important. They are. But you're trying to scale your company too quickly. Don't try to scale it in the beginning. I'm just telling you, one of the things that we did, we started writing all these procedures for all these different job types. And guess what happened after 3 or 4 years? We nixed that job type. We stopped doing fire. We stopped doing contents. We stopped doing asbestos. We started figuring out who we are and who we were going to be, okay? And then we finally decided that we were going to do residential water damage, okay? And we focused specifically on plumbers. That's who we were, all right? Just hear me out. Don't write your procedures just yet because you don't know who you're going to be. If you want some procedure stuff, I can give it to you, okay? I'll give you some stuff. Go to workwithshane.com, fill out some information. We can get on call and talk about it, okay? But I'm just telling you, don't worry about that. That scaling is going to be later. The first thing you need to do is start worrying about getting 3 jobs a week, okay? Consistently. That's what you need to worry on. If you're not doing over 8 water jobs a month, you're probably in the field. You're probably in the truck, okay? Those guys are watching you over the shoulder. So you don't need to document the process. You document the process so they can refer to something when you're not in the room. Train the dudes over your shoulder. Train them over your shoulder. Don't give them the process, show them the process. You follow me? Get out in the field, do the dang work. Those are your procedures. So another huge mistake that I see restoration contractors make is this. They do whatever they can just to keep their guys busy. What does it mean to keep your guys busy? Let me tell you what it means. It means you're probably taking jobs that you shouldn't be taking. You're doing jobs you shouldn't be doing in areas you shouldn't be doing them. Jobs that aren't that profitable, that aren't that desirable. And why are you doing it? To keep your guys busy. Guys, I worked for years busting my butt trying to find jobs to keep my guys busy so they could get their 40, okay? And let me tell you something. There's a really good chance that in 3 years or in 2 years from now, that dude ain't gonna be there anyway. You spend how many hours of your life busting your butt to keep someone that is not even that grateful busy? Do you understand? Here's the thing. I'm not saying you should not take care of your guys. You should. Pay them to sit at home, but don't go take jobs that you shouldn't be doing, okay? Because the jobs that you shouldn't be doing, they're not as profitable, okay? They're usually further away, and they're the bigger headache customers. Not only that, the customers are a bigger headache. And most importantly, you're not doing the things that you should be doing to make your business better. I'm gonna say that again. Instead of making your business better, you're busy managing jobs that you shouldn't be doing just to keep your guys busy, okay? Guys, just listen to me. I'm telling you, for years, I tried to keep my guys busy. And it doesn't work out. It doesn't help them and it doesn't help you. If you don't have enough work to keep your guys busy doing the good types of jobs, then you need to let those guys go work somewhere else so you can get the types of jobs that you want and need and bring them back once you're ready, baby. Bring them back once you've got adequate job flow or lead flow, okay? But I'm telling you, working for the sake of working just to keep your guys busy, that is not what you want to do. I'm telling you, it is a trap. I've been there. So here's what you should be doing instead of keeping your guys busy. Figuring out how to get more water jobs, specifically from plumbers, because they give you the best. I'm a little partial, but I'm just telling you, instead of keeping your guys busy, running materials back and forth, you need to be doing the inputs, the marketing inputs, the sales inputs. Get consistent with those things and never stop them, okay? Quit making your guys busy and do those sales and marketing inputs. If you don't know what they are, go to workwithshane.com. We can talk about it. So here's another big mistake that I see restoration contractors make. They spend too much time just worrying about their to-do list. Guys, you might spend all day knocking out your to-do list and you are busy. But let me tell you something, busy is not productive, okay? Busy is busy. That is not productive. You want to be productive. When you go into business for yourself, guys, you're going to have a to-do list that is far greater than you have time to execute. So let me say that differently. You've already got more things to do today than you have time to do them. So that means you can't do them all. So why worry about doing them all? There's no way that you can. So now we're talking about prioritizing the list. How do you know what to prioritize? Guys, I spent years trying to figure this out. I went through, I can't remember this guy's name, David something. It's the GTD, Getting Things Done system, okay? I read books, I went through classes and seminars, and I really dove deep in terms of productivity and personal development. And I did this because I wanted to figure all this out. And I went so far as like getting software. I used Todoist for a while to help me manage my to-do list. And we went through Traction and all of our issues list. We did a whole bunch of things to try and manage that to-do list, okay? But here's what I'm telling you. That to-do list is that big and you got that much time in the day, all right? And here's the reality. There's no way you're gonna get it all done. There's no way you're gonna get it all done. And so I would like to share with you what I did that wound up being probably the most impactful. And I took this from Tim Ferriss or Frank Kern, right? This is kind of their two things, which is this. If you've got 10,000 things to do today, that's great. You can't do all those, but do this instead. If you could only do one or two things today, what would they be? In other words, if you could, let's pretend your wife says, Shane, you get a chance to do two things today, and after those two things, you got to come home. Well, you know what you're going to do? Now you instantly know what your two most important priorities are for the day, not 10 or 20, okay? Instead of trying to figure out, hey, how many minutes do I have right here to do this block? If you could only do two or three things, what would they be today? And that's what you do, okay? So it's the whole idea of a not to-do list, not a to-do list. So that's what I would offer you to do. Don't worry about trying to get it all done, okay? And focus on the stuff that's most important. And that's one thing that I'll tell you most of you guys don't do. Most of those things on that one or two items, it needs to be related to your sales and marketing inputs. If your sales and marketing inputs stop, everything else in the business stops, okay? So it basically comes down to this. Sales and marketing inputs and making sure that you're billing and collecting. Sales and marketing, billing and collecting. Sales and marketing, billing and collecting. Sales and marketing, billing and collecting. All right, so here's another really big one that I see. And this is not on my list, but it's burning me right now, so I got to tell you about it. One big mistake that I see restoration contractors make is this: trying to respond to all of the emails from adjusters, arguing line items on an estimate. What are you doing? Like, what are you doing? Dude, that adjuster is there playing a game with you, and you're gonna spend an hour or 2 hours trying to pull out stuff from the S500, put in some F9 notes and hit send? Guys, it doesn't even matter. Do you understand? It's a freaking game. Yeah, I thought it mattered too. And then after you do 1,000 water damage claims as an owner, you start to see that there's some inconsistencies in what they're talking about. Here's what I'm telling you. Stop worrying about emailing those adjusters, okay? You can get on the phone, you can call them if you want, okay? But I'm telling you this, stop trying to argue line items and stop playing freaking email and phone tag, okay? There's no need in that. Now, you do need to get paid. I'm gonna tell you that. But what you don't need to do is spend over an hour a day emailing adjusters. I mean, I can't imagine spending over 20 minutes doing it, okay? I did do it in the beginning. I spent so many hours a day emailing adjusters, playing phone tag, getting heated under the collar, getting ticked off because they didn't want to pay for this or that. Guys, it is a freaking game. All right, so here's another big mistake that I see restoration contractors make on a regular basis. Number one, they hire someone too quickly. And then number two, they hold on to them too long. And so you've probably heard this, but if you haven't, I'm gonna tell you now. They say, hire slow, fire fast. Hire slow, fire fast. Here's what I wanna tell you guys. In the beginning, I did a pretty good job of hiring people I shouldn't have hired. I did. And then I did a pretty good job at keeping them longer than I should have. And more than that, it was a situation where like, I would hold on to them because I didn't wanna fire them because I knew that it was gonna directly impact me negatively because now I was gonna have to pick up their slack. And I was even more angry at them because now they suck even worse, you know? So I literally would keep employees because I didn't want to go through the bull crap of having to run an ad, do the interviews, hire them, train them, only for them maybe not to work out. I mean, like, oh, I'm getting shivers even thinking about it right now. I mean, I'm just telling you, turnover sucks, dude. Turnover is not fun. Turnover sucks, okay? It sucks. But I'm telling you, if you keep someone longer than you should, they will freaking destroy your culture, okay? One thing that I've always heard, well, I don't know if I've heard this, I just say it. You don't want to keep a bad apple. You don't want to keep an employee any longer than they should. I'm going to say it a little differently. It doesn't take but a little bit of piss to ruin an entire batch of soup, okay? So like literally a little bit of pee can ruin an entire batch of soup. You don't want to keep bad employees. They will taint your culture and they'll taint it fast, okay? Hire slow, fire fast. So one of the things that we would do at our company is we would have multiple mock interviews, okay? Like, so this was before we did Zoom calls. This is like, I don't know, 2012, 2013. Like this is back when you actually had to have phone calls with people, right? We would bring them in, but we would bring them in and we would make them like, they would do an interview, but it would be with someone at the front desk of my office. And I didn't really care. Sorry, this is how you get interrupted with a phone call. Hello? All right, well, just say hey to everybody.
Huh?
Say hey to everybody.
What do you mean?
I'm making a YouTube video right now.
Oh, hey everybody.
All right, love you.
Love you.
All right, bye. So that's how your wife calls you during making a YouTube video. So when it comes to hiring somebody, here's what we would do. We made it very difficult to get on with us. We would have multiple interviews, okay? I would make them come to my office, fill out a physical piece of paper, and then once they filled that out, I was really just seeing, would they show up? Did they show up? And so I think we made them come to 2 physical interviews in person before they ever met me. And then I can't remember, we did like, it was 3 different things, okay? So it was basically, they would not get a chance to meet or talk to me until the 3rd interview, all right? And the reason why I did that is I was wanting to see, were they gonna be late? Were they gonna be a no-show? That was one of the things that we would do. And so just don't be afraid to put some unnecessary hurdles in front, because if they're gonna miss interview 1 or interview 2 or interview 3, they're gonna miss day 1, day 2, day 3, all right? We made it very difficult to get on, and we strung the process out. And believe me, a lot of cases, a lot of times, I wanted to hire somebody that day or the following day because like, dude, I had work, I needed to get it done. Well, guess what? Go use temp labor on that, dog. Go use temporary labor. Do not bring a W-2 into that environment, okay? That's toxic because now you're rushing them in to an environment and you're not ready just because like you're bringing them in to this environment and you don't even have their stuff set up, okay? Like they're gonna come in here and they're gonna see that you have no idea what you're doing. You should have the entire first week of them being employed already on a set sheet, right? Like they show up on day 1, do this, day 2, they do this, day 3, they do this, day 4, they do that, okay? That's how you should be onboarding your employees. Hire slow, fire fast. Now, I'll tell you one other thing. This is probably a bad story. So I told you guys that I had all of these like interview things that we would do. And I had this girl, and I was running an office manager position at the time. And this was probably in 2016 or so, 17, something like that. I can't remember. I say this to you because it was $85,000 for a girl to run the office. And that 85 grand was a lot of money, you know, in Franklin before this whole, you know, Joe Biden inflation thing took off. Did I say that? Sorry. Not sorry. But so, yeah, before inflation, when a dollar was really a dollar, 85 grand meant something. And so anyway, this girl came in, and I set up like 4 or 5 interviews, and she just nailed them all, dude, and like had the pedigree. Everything looked great. Well, guess what? I wound up firing her on the second day. I fired her on the second day. It was an $85,000 office manager position, and here's the reason why I fired her on the second day. On day one, I can't really remember what time I told her to be there. I don't know. I don't remember. And this is a failure on my part. I should have known, okay? I don't know if I told her exactly what time to be there. And remember all the procedures I'm telling you I should have had? I didn't have those. Like, I was going to sit over the shoulder and train her all my stuff. But anyway, so I brought her in. I told her to come in on day one. And so I was sitting in the office, and like most any other day, I was there probably at 5:30 in the morning and waiting on her to get there. And so around 7:30, I was just making sure everything was in order. And rolled around 8 o'clock. She wasn't there. And I was like, huh. And so anyway, she wasn't there at 8. And I didn't call her. I was like, well, let me just see what's going on here. See, and guess what? She comes rolling in. Now, you want to know what time she came rolling in? 8:20. 8:20. And here's what I want you to know. I don't know, again, if I told her what time we were starting, but if you did not know what time you were going to start on day one, number one, you'd probably call. But number two, what time would you probably show up? What time? Probably about what? About 8 o'clock, I'm guessing, right? Well, she didn't. She didn't call. She didn't show up at 8. She showed up at 8:20. And she didn't show up at 8:30. She didn't show up at 9. It was 8:20. You know what 8:20 feels like? 20 minutes after I should have been there. That's what it felt like. So, but I didn't say nothing about that, okay? I was like, oh, sorry, I guess maybe I didn't tell you what time to be here, huh? And so, not a big deal. So we went through day one training, and here's what she was doing all day while we were training. And I did not have don't play with your phone on my procedures. I didn't have don't play with your phone on the procedures. I guess I need to, all right? But I was sitting there, literally, we were at the office just typing and doing my desk stuff or whatever, and I was showing her what I'll do. And I can't tell you how many times I just saw the pickup and just picking up her phone, playing with it. Dude, I was getting antsy, all right? And I was like, yeah, if you want to put that down, you can come over here and just focus on this. So anyway, day one, she was late. Then throughout the day, she was playing on her phone. But day two is where she got fired. So on day 2, I told her what time to be there. I was like, oh yeah, by the way, we start at 8, okay? So make sure you're here at 10 till. And so, because we open at 8, okay? You can't open at 8 if you're not ready to open. So, on time is late, right? So on day 2, she shows up. On day 2, I think I got the call. I can't remember. I think I got the call. It was almost 9 o'clock. She called me almost at 9 o'clock. It was well after she should have. And to tell me this, hey, we're having car problems. I got to take my husband to work. All right. That's what she told me. And you know what I said? Don't worry about it. Okay, thanks. No, I mean, don't worry about it. Like, you're fired. And why did I fire her on the second day? Like, she doesn't get it. Number one, she didn't get it on what time to show up on day 1. Number 2, she didn't understand that she shouldn't be playing with her phone all day. And then number 3, she did not understand this, that if you started a brand new job and there's car problems, guess who goes to work first? The person that just started the brand new job, right? Or maybe you call the boss and let him know before you're supposed to be there, you're having some problems. And so, yeah, I fired her on day 2. Hire slow, fire fast. And that's what I did. Looking back, what would I do? I probably do the same thing. I'm probably less tolerant of that stuff now. If I made a mistake, drop a comment and let me know. Or, there you go. All right, so the last thing that we're going to talk about today is people that you should never hire. And I've got a few. Number 1, never hire an addict. Number 2, never hire a thief. Number 3, never hire somebody that's married to an addict. So that's a trifecta, okay? Here's what I want you to know. Second chances are one thing, okay? I'll give them some second chances, but I ain't gonna do it in my shirt, okay? It doesn't come in my shirt, all right? A lot of people make mistakes, whether they get in trouble, vandalism, DUI. I would much rather hire someone that's had a DUI than I would have somebody that has been a thief. Because I'm telling you, dude, once a thief, always a thief, dog. What they say about dogs, all right? Once a chicken killer, always a chicken killer. Once they eat one chicken, that dog will always kill chickens. So yeah, sorry, case that I didn't tell you. When I first moved to Nashville, I lived on a farm. We had some dogs, we had some chickens, and some of the dogs would kill our chickens. And once that one dog started killing his first chicken, you had to get rid of the dog because he was going to kill the rest of the chickens, and that's what happened. So yeah, thief, man. Once they get used to that 5-finger discount, baby, they don't ever stop. And at least not for me. So I'm just telling you, don't hire a thief, dude. The other thing about this, don't hire an addict, all right? I believe in second chances, but like if they're struggling, they've been struggling with drug or alcohol abuse, pray for them. I wouldn't necessarily hire them. I'd pray for them, all right? You do what you want to do, but the minute you put them in that shirt and you bring them on board and you help them, like they're now employed with you, now they're yours, okay? Now you're gonna be sending them to rehab because like that's your responsibility, that is your liability, okay? What I'm telling you now is don't do that unless you're gonna be willing to do that, okay? Once you take that dude on board, he is yours, okay? And so, but yeah, I would not hire someone that's been struggling with substance abuse. That stuff gets really tricky and they've gotta be over it and clean for, I don't know. I can just tell you this, I don't know how many people I ever had. Usually they've had problems in relatively recently, okay? Yeah, I never had one that had that problem was so far in the past and well beyond it, you know? Yeah, I don't mess with addiction, okay? Those things are tough. And, especially when it's in your business. Now, the next thing I'll say, let's talk about this. I don't know that I directly hired anybody that was an addict, but what I did do is I hired someone that was married to an addict. And that was the biggest problem is because this dude checked out, but his wife was like, dude, when she's crazy, okay, if they're schizophrenic, I don't know, I have pity towards bipolar because I think I'm probably bipolar, but either way, seriously, if they're married to a crazy person or they're married to an addict, just know this, that you have now employed whatever that other person is because the other spouse is going to be equally codependent, whatever that word means, that's what they are. I'm not sure what codependent means, but I hear them talk about it a lot. And I know that means it's basically slang for messed up or got problems too. And it really goes back to this. It's a cycle that they work through, okay? It's dysfunction. And if one is an addict, there's usually a codependent on the other side that's maybe enabler is the word, I'm not really saying, but there's just some stuff that's going on. And in the scenario where one's an addict and the other one's like the codependent enabler, you're employing one of those two. I'm just telling you, dude, that is not what you want in your jersey, baby. That is not what you want in your shirt. It gets tough. And once that stuff comes about, let me tell you some other stuff that I figured out. Give them a severance and let them go. Like offer them a chance to get out and like, when you fire them with dignity if you can. I mean, I know I fired this chick on day 2, but she wasn't my chick yet. You know what I'm saying? Once they've worked with you for months or years, how you fire people matters. There's a book that you can go read or listen to. It's called The Hard Thing About Hard Things. Man, that'll tell you a lot about it, dude. And there's a lot of truth in that book, but it talks about how you go about firing people has a lot to do with, I don't know. It's just really important how you let people go and how you let them down. Something about, it just says a lot about you as you're running your company, okay? And there's something important about it. And so once you brought that person on board, they're yours, okay? And you need to fire them with dignity. And if y'all want me to explain what firing somebody with dignity is in another video, we can talk about that. So that being said, we're gonna bring this thing for a landing. Here's the deal. I've made a lot of mistakes in my business. These were just a handful of them. If you want me to make another video on the rest of them because we didn't even get halfway through the list today, drop a comment and let me know. If you guys need help growing your restoration company, getting more jobs, getting paid more consistently, I'd love to help you with that as well. Go to workwithshane.com. Otherwise, I'll see you guys in the next video. If you guys enjoyed that video, I've got 3 things for you. First off, there's a couple of other videos somewhere on the screen. You can click those now to go watch more content about growing your restoration company. Number 2, if you haven't already subscribed, click my face below and that will subscribe you to the channel. And finally, if you would like for me to help you grow your restoration company, go to workwithshane.com, put in your information, and let's get on a 15-minute call. We'll see you then.